Hello, bonjour. This is Marino with elegantfemme.com, and I am in Paris. It's actually lunchtime here, so you might hear some kids playing and some people shuffling around behind me, but I have to be outside. I think we have, hopefully we have more than a couple weeks left of this gorgeous weather. I wanted to speak to you about something pretty tender today. It feels very present for me because it is September, and it's what we call here in France, la rentrée, which means the re-entry. Basically, it's back, like what we would say back to school in the US, so it's la rentrée. And all the kids are getting ready and they're going back to school, and all of this hustle and bustle about that. And I'm just really reminded of a huge decision my husband and I made last year. And I want to talk to you about it because I really feel a lot of women can relate to this idea of something no longer working. So it was, I knew for some time. I come from a family of educators, so this was not easy for me to admit. But there were a lot of days when my youngest son was coming home crying, or that I was stressing about doing homework and trying to manage all these different pieces, and going away to see my dad for Thanksgiving and getting a huge lecture from the school when we got back because we missed an extra day. And it just, for us, and I want to be clear when I say this, because I'm not saying that everybody needs to do what we did by any means. In fact, I believe the exact opposite. It's not about following one way. It's really about allowing yourself to create a unique path for you that works for you in any given life stage. But I can remember screaming one night, really like a cry of relief, when I finally admitted that it wasn't working. For us, the conventional school system wasn't working. And we chose to take our kids out of the conventional school system, and this last year has not been easy for us. Managing the travel and being at home and working from home and having the kids at home, and just this whole big learning curve. But I can tell you it was absolutely worth it. And the reason it was worth it is because I followed, and my husband and I followed, a deep, authentic truth inside of us. But I want to share with you today that it takes a lot of courage to admit what's not working. And it's so challenging when we feel something inside of ourselves that is so separate from what we've been doing, or so separate than what society has been doing, and recognizing that really in our own inner truth, it's just no longer working for us. It's no longer serving us in our life. And we come to a realization that maybe it's time to admit that it's no longer working. So I want to open up this conversation with you because I do realize that this is incredibly tender, and this is incredibly courageous, and it's not easy. It's really not easy to admit why things aren't working. And there are a whole bunch of reasons behind that I'll discuss with you more. I think the one that you can relate with right away is that it's a huge shift in identity when you admit that something isn't working. Because the question that comes up is, what am I going to do with it if I admit it, and how am I going to move forward inside of that? And so I want to talk to you about that as well, because this is a big piece of what I'm committed to in living the fullest that I can inside of my life, and allowing myself to feel alive, is really being able to define and refine what it is that's working or no longer working in my life. So I want to open up this conversation with you, and I'm inviting you to think about what it is, and I know it takes courage, what it is that's no longer working in your life, and to create a list of 3 things that you are aware are no longer working. Now, I want to let you know from your faux types that don't worry, you don't have to do anything around this yet. This is just an opportunity for you to begin to identify. Some of you will choose to share, and it can be kind of tender, so if you don't choose to share, I'd just love to hear what you think about this. This is a really big topic conversation inside of me and a lot of my clients, and really admitting to themselves those defining moments and defining factors inside of their life of what's working and what's not working. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how this resonates with you and what's coming up inside of you. And I have a lot more to share with you in the next coming weeks.